must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
To emphasize this, these are 7 new cases who are in the community, people who volunteered themselves to come and get tested. And so you can see this disease is actually within us, and therefore we need to ensure we adhere to our containment measures. Fellow Kenyans, in the last 24 hours, we managed to test 1,195 samples, and out of these, 24 people, 24, and I repeat, 24 people tested positive for coronavirus. And this is the highest number of positive cases that we have recorded since we reported our first case. Out of these cases, 7 are already, as indicated, from Kawangware, and therefore this brings to total 20 cases just in Kawangware. 10 cases are from Isili, bringing the total number in this area to 21. 5 are from Mombasa, and this therefore brings the total number of Mombasa cases to 129. And the last 2 cases are from Kuria West in Migori County. And these 2 had a recent history of travel from Tanzania. The 5 cases in Mombasa are from Mikindani 2, Mwembe Tayari 2, and Shimanzi 1. And therefore this now brings the total number of positive cases in the country to 435. The age brackets of the new cases are between 1 to 19 years of age. We have 4 cases. Between 20 to 39 years, we have 14. Between 40 to 60, we have 6. And in terms of gender, 10 are male and 14 are female. And we are saddened, greatly saddened to inform you today that we've lost 1 more patient from Mombasa. And this was a 51-year-old woman who had been admitted on the 27th of April, and she had an underlying condition. And let me take this chance to convey our heartfelt condolences to her family and her community. Therefore, our total number of fatalities now stands at 22. On a more positive note, we are delighted to inform you that we now have discharged 2 more patients, and therefore our total number of recoveries is 152. There have been concerns raised as pertaining to the situation in our quarantine facilities, and the ministry has taken note and is working to ensure that there's a comfortable stay for those who are in the quarantine facilities. And in light of the anticipated surge of numbers, and it's important we emphasize, today is the day we've recorded 24 positive cases, and we shall continue recording more positive cases. And therefore, in anticipation of this surge of numbers, we must therefore now begin a serious conversation around the issue of the quarantine system. And to this end, the Ministry of Health is reviewing home-based care, quarantine mechanisms, and we shall soon be able to issue specific guidelines as to how this shall be undertaken. And it's important to note again, the success of home-based care is highly pegged on our discipline as Kenyans and as our cooperation in terms of ensuring that we actually adhere to these guidelines. I would like to take an opportunity to thank all the individuals and corporates who continue to support this war against coronavirus, and we continue to appeal to other well-wishers to come forward and to provide support. And as I conclude again, I'd like to thank Kenyans for the cooperation, because this cooperation has made it possible for us to register some elements and some degrees of achievement, but also to reiterate that we must continue to observe these containment measures. Having recorded 24 cases is actually quite severe, fellow Kenyans, and it's really important that we continue to meet and adhere to our containment measures. And at this juncture, I'd like to invite the Director General. It has come to our attention that more information is required with regards to the care and management of our cases, and so the DG shall give a highlight on how we are taking care of our patients, what treatment measures we are putting in place, what new therapies the country is considering, and he shall also articulate on some of our resources. Karibu, DG.
Thank you, Madam CS. Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to give you a few highlights regarding the status of the patients we are taking care of as at now. As at today, we have 214 patients spread across various hostels, of course, from the coast to the western part of the country. Out of these 214, it's only one patient who is in critical care under ventilatory support at the Kenyatta University Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital. The remaining 213 patients are in stable condition, and we are hopeful that they'll continue to do well, and therefore going forward we'll have more discharges coming from our healthcare facilities. I'm sure you must have heard of the news from the United States regarding the new drug, remdesivir, for treatment of severe coronavirus disease. This is a medicine that was initially tried for Ebola virus treatment and was also used for treatment of other coronaviruses like the Middle East respiratory syndrome and the SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, whose outbreak was reported in 2003 in Hong Kong. This medicine, a trial was done in the United States involving 1,063 cases, and this was a good trial because the caseload was good, more than 1,000 people, and the primary endpoint was the recovery in terms of either stoppage of use of supplemental oxygen for critically ill patients or the time for discharge. And during this study, 31% of the 1,063 people were able to go home within 11 days, compared to the other arm who received a normal treatment. Based on this, the Federal Drug Administration Authority in US has decided to register this medicine for treatment of coronavirus disease 19. However, this is not to point out that now we have a cure, because if you look at the time frame, it's only 15 days for those who receive normal treatment versus 11 days for those who receive remdesivir. Therefore, this is not a silver bullet, though it has been approved, but the other shortcoming of this medication is that it can only be given as an infusion through an injection, so there's no oral formulation, and is also relatively expensive. For our cases, because most of our cases are mild asymptomatic cases, it could be deployed, but to a small fraction of our patients. Of course, we still continue to pursue the use of other medications, including favipiravir, also called Avigan from Japan, the antiretroviral medicines that have been tried, that is lopinavir, ritonavir, or Kaletra, as commonly known, the use of chloroquine, hydrochloroquine, which again has also been prioritized by the US government. And of course, is now available locally in case we need to deploy it for our patients. So that is in terms of the treatment landscape, how it looks like. Still no cure, despite this encouraging news. For testing, you have heard of this case of Senegal where they used the rapid test kits. And the rapid test kits from Senegal are based on antibodies. Antibodies are basically proteins that our bodies produce in response to an insult or an antigen or a foreign body. And the first antibody that your body produces if you get exposed to a virus, say measles or COVID-19, is called IgM. The second antibody, which is produced much later, after usually 2 weeks or before, is called IgG. So the one of Senegal is based on IgM. But the pitfalls of these rapid test kits is because, one, you tend to produce the antibodies after about 2 weeks. Therefore, you lose significant opportunity of 14 days where you could be able to trace, isolate, and quarantine people, and therefore stop further transmission of the infection. So that is one big limitation of the rapid test kits. Number two, the rapid test kits are not selective. There are very many types of coronaviruses. So even if you have the coronavirus that causes a mild cold, the rapid kit could interpret it as COVID-19. That is what we call in science a false positive. And therefore, you will be diagnosed as coronavirus disease 19 positive, yet you have the simple corona that causes a cold. Number 3 is that if you are immunosuppressed, like if you have HIV infection, or you are malnourished, or you have a serious infection like TB, your immune response is subdued, and therefore you tend to produce less antibodies or no antibodies at all. In that case, if you put you through that test, it will come out negative, yet you could be positive for COVID-19. And finally, regarding the rapid test kits, is because even if you have the antibodies, evidence has not shown that those antibodies will protect you from reinfection. However, these are good diagnostic equipment that can be used for research purposes, like in KEMRI, and also for carrying out what we call seroprevalence surveys, or you want to find out the spread or the incidence of a disease in a community, or the prevalence of a disease in a big community. I also wanted to emphasize a bit on the cases from Kawangware, as Madam CS has alluded to. There are 20 cases from Kawangware. 12 of these cases can be traced back to one single individual. And this single individual used to work with us at the Emergency Operations Center. This single individual passed the infection over to 6 primary contacts. Out of these primary contacts, there are 5 secondary contacts. So if you draw that tree, there are 12 people linked to this particular case. If you look at the case of Kilifi, the index case had 5 primary contacts, 1 secondary contact, and 1 tertiary contact. And of course, we continue to do surveillance because the 14 days mandatory period for incubation has already passed. So you cannot be able to tell how many people one person can be able to pass the infection to. And why am I saying this? Because this is important, because then it is the reason that we talk about quarantine and isolation. That quickly, if we test you, we need to move you into the isolation unit so that you don't stop growing these branches. And for those who test positive, of course, we also move you to the isolation site. The others who have not been tested, of course, are kept in quarantine, therefore trying to stop the transmission. And that is basically what leads to a flattening of the curve. Finally, I wanted to share with you the donation that we received from one of our many partners who have supported the ministry. One is the Jack Ma Foundation. I have a table here with me regarding the quantities of whatever was donated, what has been distributed, and what is still in stock in our KEMSA stores. Like, for example, the test kits were a total of 208. If you multiply that by 80, you get about 17,000 test kits. Remember, if you test you and you test positive, at a minimum, you will require 3 tests at a minimum. The first test, the index test, that determines whether you are positive or negative. If you are positive, then you require another second test after 14 days. If that test is negative, you require another test after 24 to 48 hours. So if you divide this number of kits by 3 on average, then you find that we had about 5,000 to 6,000 test kits. And therefore, anytime we report that we have a given number of test kits, remember each individual at a minimum will require 3 tests. So always divide it by a minimum of 3. Of course, we also received viral transport media, 18,900 pieces, all which have gone to various laboratories, various face masks which have all been distributed, medical disposable protective clothing, 1,100 pieces distributed. I can be able to share this with you. So in a nutshell, based on what I've been able to share with you, is that we are not out of the woods yet. We expect a surge in our numbers as we continue with the targeted testing. And therefore, it means we'll require more
Good afternoon, Africa. Wherever you are in Africa, thank you very much. Wherever you are in the diaspora, thank you very much, my Pan-African friends, Pan-African people, the people of Africa, where you reside, where you are right now. Thank you for watching Punchline Africa Television. From the headquarters of Punchline Africa Television, across the bridge is none other than Miriam Ogotu. Good afternoon, Miriam.
A very good afternoon to you, Doctor, and a very happy Sunday there.
A happy Sunday indeed, and across, very far away from you, is none other than the political command center of Punchline Africa Television, that is in collaboration with SBCS, Broadcasting Corporation of via the satellite in Berlin. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, viewers. Today's show is Africa Showdown, a show that brings joy to the African people, a show that looks at around samples Africa, looks at what is happening in most of the parts of Africa. Thank you very much for all the people, the health workers, the frontline workers, those on the front line, those who have been working so hard day and night to bring about our salvation of this continent. This continent of Africa is a great continent, Miriam. And as you see from the way things are, we have got a problem that came about as a result of COVID-19. To bring up to date our viewers, thank you very much. We would like cross over to Miriam to bring about what we call the figures, the real figures on the African continent, what is taking place. Then later on, we have our show, Adaka Forces, the topic that we want to tackle. Adaka Forces plotting after Africa. Adaka Forces in Africa plotting after COVID-19. Are there people plotting to destabilize Africa? Let us know. Let's talk about it. Join us. If you are in Kenya, definitely you must be seeing some darker forces and some clouds gathering on top of the hills. The comets are in the sky, and everywhere you see the brutus of these countries, the brutus that have hated a united Kenya, seem to be opening up their daggers. Are darker forces plotting after COVID-19. That is the topic. But Miriam will take us through quickly East African states or African nations. You read the first page, I read the second page. Thank you, and we make sure that since this is an African show, let all Africans know how far they stand with their numbers and how many people in their countries are affected with COVID-19. We want to thank the president of Madagascar. He has not hidden the idea. He has not hidden it from his fellow heads of state. I was very impressed yesterday when the president of Madagascar addressed all heads of state in Africa, telling them there is something here. You can come and carry it and then try it. That is very good. That is what we call Pan-Africanism. The Pan-Africanism, and I want to take this opportunity before Miriam comes in to talk about, to tell the world, to thank PLO Lumumba, my colleague, that as a person who speaks fluently on Africa, we thank you very much for the lecture you have just given about Africa. But one thing I listened the whole lecture up to the end is the failure to condemn the people who come to pick Africa, to buy Africa. That's it. PLO, you did very well, Prof. But let's condemn. Let's stand up. Let's also on the other side. Let's look at those who have bought AU. the people who have grabbed the AU, the people who have sold the AU, we are President AU, Dlamini Zuma, Dani, but there are people who sold it. My brother PLO, people sold the AU. Don't soften your language on that. They sold it. It is no more. It has been taken. It is a toothless dog watching Africa dying. It has no energy to stop a war in Amazonia, to stop a war in Mogadishu. It has tried in Mogadishu, but now infiltrated by the same superpower. Mogadishu is falling to pieces, trying to support terrorism. We are in trouble. Miriam, over to you. I think we come, I've just opened up the sea in the your segment. Tell us, page 1, what is happening on the African continent. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And these are the latest statistics on COVID-19 in Africa today. And we start with Kenya, where now confirmed cases is at 435. 22 people have died in the country and 152 others are recovered. And in Comoros, confirmed cases is 3. Finally, Comoros get registered its first cases. And Sao Tome and Principe, confirmed cases is 16. 1 person have died and 4 people have recovered. And in South Sudan, confirmed cases 46. Uganda confirmed cases 88 with 52 recoveries, and in Tanzania confirmed cases is 480 and 17 people have died, while 167 others have recovered. And Central Africa Republic confirmed cases is 72. And 10 people have died and no deaths have been reported there from Central African Republic. And South Africa confirmed cases right now stands at 6,336. The death toll there is at 123. Recoveries is 2,549. Algeria confirmed cases is 4,295. 459 people have died. Recoveries, there's 1,872. And Burundi confirmed cases is 15. 1 person has died. 7 others have recovered.
And in Zimbabwe, 34 people so far confirmed, dropping from 40 yesterday. And 34 people confirmed, 4 dead, 5 recovered. In Sudan, Khartoum, 592, dead 41, recovered 52. Egypt, 6,193, 415 dead, recovered 1,522. Morocco, 4,880, dead 174, recovered 1,424. Liberia, 154, 18 dead, recovered 48. Chad in Jamena, 117, dead 10, recovered 39. Burkina Faso is 652 infected cases, dead 44, recovered 535. Somalia, 671, dead 31, recovered 34. Gambia, 17 confirmed cases, dead 1, recovered 9. Cameroon and Amazonia, 2,077, dead 64, recovered 953. Senegal, 1,105, dead 9, recovered 368. Over to you, Miriam.
And we go to Ivory Coast, where confirmed cases is at 1,275. 14 deaths have been reported, and 525 others have recovered. In Ghana, confirmed cases right now stands at 2,169. 18 people have died, 229 have recovered. And in Mauritius, confirmed cases is 332. Dead people there are 10, and 314 recoveries. Nigeria, confirmed cases is 2,388. 85 people have died, 385 have recovered. The DRC confirmed cases 674. 33 people have died, 75 have recovered. Congo Brazzaville, confirmed cases 229. 9 people have died, 25 have recovered. Rwanda, confirmed cases 255. Recoveries there stands at 120. Madagascar, confirmed cases is at 135. Recoveries there is 97. I can see they call the COVID organic there, must be working very well. And in Zambia, confirmed cases at 124. 3 people have died and 78 others have recovered. Togo, confirmed cases at 123. 9 people dead, 66 recovered. And in Mali, confirmed cases is 544. 26 dead with 206 recoveries.
So we
move to Niger.
Niger, confirmed cases 736, 35 dead, recovered 507. Ethiopia, 133, dead people are 3, recovered 69. Tunisia, 1,009, dead 42, recovered 323. Djibouti, 1,102, dead 2, recovered 686. Guinea, Conakry, confirmed cases 1,586. Those dead are 7. Those recovered are 405. And Equatorial Guinea, 315, 1 dead, recovered 9. Gabon, 335 confirmed cases, dead 5, recovered 85. Libya, 63, dead 3, recovered 18. Mozambique, 79, recovered 18, no dead yet in Mozambique. Seychelles, 11 cases confirmed, recovered 6, no death yet in Seychelles. Sierra Leone, 155, recovered 21, dead people 8. Over to you, Miriam.
And we go to Benin, where confirmed cases is 90. 2 people have died, 42 have recovered. Eritrea, confirmed cases is at 39 with 26 recoveries. Guinea-Bissau, confirmed cases 257. 1 person has died and 19 others have recovered. And finally, in Angola, confirmed cases is at 35. 2 people have died and 11 others have recovered. And we look at the statistics in Africa in general and how they look at today. And we prepared this about an hour ago, so perhaps the statistics might have changed, but confirmed cases in Africa so far is 41,871. The death toll in the continent is at 1,721. Recoveries is at 13,760. And infected countries right now is at 54, with 1 country being virus-free, and that is Lesotho. And the global statistics, total confirmed cases till now is at 3,499,403. Confirmed cases today only is at 18,054. The death toll is 244,991, representing a 7% of the total number of confirmed cases worldwide. And the new death toll is at 375. People who are in critical conditions are at 50,868, representing only 2% of the number of total confirmed cases worldwide. And recoveries there have been at 1,093,950. 31.9% representation there. The number of recoveries have gone up, and also the countries who have been affected so far worldwide now stands at 214 countries.
Across the globe, India 39,980, 1,323 recovered dead people, recovered people 10,809 and 819. United Kingdom, confirmed cases 182, 260 cases, dead people 28,131. May their souls rest in peace. South Korea, 10,793, 250 people, recovered 9,183, confirmed Today, 13 cases. China, 82,877. Did 4,633. Recovered 77,113. Confirmed cases today in China range to 2 only in China. In Spain, confirmed cases are 245, 567, 25,100 dead, and 1,446, 233 people are recovered. United States of America, with the largest number in the world now, 1,160,840 people confirmed with COVID-19. Out of these, 67,448 people died. May their souls rest in peace, all of these countries. Recovered cases in the United States range to 173. 725. Italy, the worst hit country in Europe. The cases are 209, 328,000. Dead are 28,710 people. Recovered are 79,914. May their souls rest in peace. Germany, 164,967 dead people. Dead people are 600,812, and those who have recovered in Germany are 130,600 people. If you look at that number, Germany remains with only another half of that figure, and they will be out of the woods. Thank you very much. And I believe they are beginning to ease their lockdown in Europe. And we thank them. We thank the German government, the British government, and other governments, especially the British government, that despite the problems that they have at home, they have continued to help other countries across the globe. They have continued to send doctors, despite the fact that they need more doctors themselves. That is the spirit of togetherness, and that's the spirit that I'm interested in.
Yes.
Over to you, Miriam.
Yes, Doctor. Yes.
Thank you.
Just to comment a bit on that, the statistics that we're looking at, some two notable things for me, and that is Spain has already overtaken Italy in terms of the number of infections there. Spain now is at 26,000, over about 246,000 and some change there, and Italy is at around 201 or something like that. So Spain has overtaken Italy in terms of the number of infections, but Italy still leads in terms of the number of deaths there in Europe. And also, shock on me, this morning, Dr. Comoros, we have 3 cases that have been confirmed. And just last week, I was doing another news item here during the diaspora dispatches, where the police had to start beating people from going to access mosques. People wanted to go and pray. As we know right now, Muslims, brothers and sisters, are observing the holy month of Ramadan. And so the people in Comoros were going to the mosques by force, even after defying the measures that the government has put in place to ensure they stay at home. And so now we see Comoros, it has one of the 2 countries in Africa that not recorded their first cases. Now we see Comoros has 3 cases, and now the only country that is virus-free in the continent is Lesotho. So very notable 2 things there in the statistics that we just read.
Miriam, it is very sad that even in Kenya, there are people calling for churches to be open. In Kenya, there are people who want the churches open. Why they want them opened, I don't know. Why they want, I've liked the Muslim brothers in Kenya. They have said, we shall do it the way it is. Even in Mecca, even Medina, they are closed. The mosques, for the first time in history of 1,000 over years, mosques have closed down. in the holy cities of those Saudi Arabian countries, cities. Why you in Africa, who just got religion by coming by ship and then hoisting a flag, you wanted the church to open? No, God can be prayed everywhere. I have been praying since morning, and my Kasumoro Bible is here. I always look at it as salvation. Open one verse, 42 years. You can pray from anywhere. I don't see the need of people trying to say they want to go to church to force one. So you see, because they wanted to go to mosques, you have seen Comoros having the same problem which other African countries have. I believe Lesotho will be making it difficult for people to assemble, to be together and enjoy their no allowing anybody from outside Lesotho. Thank you, Miriam. Back to you for the headlines in Kenya.
All right, thank you there. And also, it's also very important to note there that Tunisia, even after recording the first few days there in the northern part of Africa, there are the few countries who had a high number, but Tunisia has managed to really not record as much numbers now compared to other countries in northern Africa. So there's something that Tunisia is doing that must be working for them compared to other countries there. So on the Sunday Standard today, all right, now the headline here is quite something here, and it says Ruto camp ultimatum to Uhuru. Deputy President William Ruto's allies issue 4 threats, including ouster of Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju and withholding monthly membership fees in an attempt to force President Uhuru Kenyatta to act on their grievances. Doctor, we are back to full political mode.
Thank you very much. Julius Caesar, in the Roman Empire, I hope I'm all right now. In the Roman Empire, there used to be an emperor by name Julius Caesar. And Julius Caesar, if you read Shakespearean books, you will find that Julius Caesar was being told every day that there are people plotting to take you down. The beggars sat on the streets of the Roman Empire. Whenever Julius Caesar passed with his horses and the coaches, they warned him. There was one beggar who said, oh no, the comets have been there for 7 good weeks in the sky. And what happened? The guards of Julius Caesar never allowed Julius Caesar to speak to the beggar. If you read that book by Shakespeare, the play, you will find that Brutus plotted with Cassius to remove Julius Caesar so that Brutus, together with Cassius, could take over the country and run the Roman Empire. What happened after that? It was not the death of Brutus. It was not the death of Caesar that mattered most, but the death of the nation, the empire called Roman Empire. After that, the Roman Empire was taken over by several empires that came in place: the Ottoman Empire, the Barbarian Empire. We have a Brutus here. Allah, from yesterday I've been being honest. I think, Miriam, you saw my honesty yesterday. We have Brutus. I've been saying on this television station with you when I am in the studio that there's a Brutus in Kenya. There's a Brutus plotting every move. Even when we have COVID-19, there is a Brutus. Even when the landslide have come, there is a Brutus. Even when, hey, I don't want to turn it into a song, Miriam. I want to leave it there. When you talk of dam money, there is Brutus. When you talk of landslides coming because the dams were, had we started digging the dams, some water would be in the dams today. That water would have not taken away the land on top of the hills to bring down people and kill people. Brutus. When you look at the party fragmentation, Brutus. When you look at COVID-19 money, Brutus. There is a Brutus behind everything in this country called Kenya. Plotting with Cassius and others, which links with the topic of today. If people don't hear me, God has heard me. Therefore, I leave it to God to make judgment whether I told a lie or not. Can I stop there? Have I analyzed your topic properly, summarized it? I don't want to go to ultimatums. I don't want to go to what is the details, but I've just told you there is a Brutus. This depicts a script, a play of Julius Caesar, a play of how Julius Caesar was murdered. There are people plotting day and night. There are people who have ganged up. There are people like David Ndii, plotting to dismember, to belittle the office of the president and to belittle the president. They will not silence us from talking. Whether here or there, we shall also talk to warn the people of Kenya that all these stories that you see, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta did not do badly by shaking hands with Raila Amolo Odinga. Me, that is the last thing that I liked most in this country called Kenya. Wacha niwaambie leo. That is the last thing I got most. Because I've been talking of redemption. Redemption. If Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga united, this country would not have bloodshed. The people who want to bring bloodshed, we are seeing you. The world is seeing you. You can pretend under all the mechanisms, but we are seeing you. And we are recording all these actions. Even if you hide, your actions are being seen. They are being felt by the people. There are people watching you. I'm telling you Kenyans today, and I'm telling those people, I'm reacting to Miriam's headline. It's not mine.
It's the Standard's headline.
Yes, it is here. It is not mine. It's Miriam's.
The Sunday Standard. The Sunday Standard headline. Yes.
Newspaper,
yes.
Which Miriam has authorized me to talk about, because she's at the general headquarters. I take duties from her. Thank you. It is there. You can run away. You can do what? But we are watching you. You see, Miriam, there are people in this world who say, oh, we talk in tongues. But they forget in this Bible here, this one here, do you know what the Bible says? It says, you can look at the signs. Oja kulaba muguru n'otunula waggulu n'olaba Katonda alikomawo. Utaangalia sijui what Swahili is that, looking in the sky, and then you can interpret it for the Swahili speakers. You can see the signs. It is bigger than talking in tongues. Because talking in tongues will mean you are confused. But when you see the signs, you know the Son of God is returning. You know there is trouble. So for us, some of us have been experts of looking at signs. You can continue talking in your tongues, but for us, we shall look at signs. We look at signs. Tunakuangalia kila pale from every angle. Internationally, regionally, we are watching you. Don't forget that woman in the skirt is watching you. She's around. She's available. She's watching you. Believe me or not, if you don't, if you talk in tongues only and leave the signs, one door might not be closed. It might be open forever and you are therefore in big trouble. So these headlines, Miriam, are not very good. This is in a nutshell. Okay. Let's go.
All right.
The same, let me finish.
Okay.
Give me half a second. The same people who are harassing Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for having sent flowers. Miriam, really. You are Kenyan, really. You are Kenyan. I want to ask women out there, women who are watching my program this evening, or this afternoon, or this morning, wherever you are. Really, women, do you for sure, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Women, really, do you for sure tell me and be honest, don't tell a lie. Tell me how many times since your marriage, your husband has bought you flowers. And then the second question, the farmers of flowers, Mr. Atwoli is one of the flower farmers and the union. Most of his workers work there. Honorable Atwoli, tell me for sure, do you grow these flowers to sell them in a hotel in Nakuru? If the answers are yes, then I surrender. If your husband has bought you flowers once on Valentine's Day, how many Valentines has he bought flowers? Maybe every day. How many percentage, how much percentage is that for women in Africa who get flowers? So if Uhuru Kenyatta looks at the flowers that are rotting in here on a shipai, in those farms of Naivasha, owned by both white people and the Kenyans. I'm not here, I don't own a farm. So don't kill me, war. I don't own a farm. You see what is paining people now? What is paining people, Miriam? Before we jump to the next, what is paining people is this demolition of Ruai land. Someone had boasted that he was going to build an empire near the president.
Near in the sewage system.
Yeah. It doesn't, they don't care. You see a sewage system where the river used to pass. Didn't you see recently when the river came up in Runda, it swallowed Gideon Moy's restaurant? It was built on the river. I was inside the restaurant when the water came to take us. I was told wear boots. Ask Moses, wear boots before you go out. I said, let me go. I have reached the age, let it take me. I'm telling you, we have a problem here. Someone is annoyed. Since that demolition of Rwanda, tuko na shida hapa. And I am very, very amused by the way, you know, when you go back to that land of Rwanda, which was struggled in courts, I have seen some documents. I don't want to speak much, but I'm telling you, we have a problem. Houston, there is a Brutus and Cassius. They are slowly plotting. Look at the comets in the sky. And apparently, Miriam, this month, on 23rd, the comets will come near the earth. Hallelujah. Did you know that? Yes. This guy of yours is always such research. 23rd of May, the comets will be here. Wacha tuone. Inaonekana comets zinakuja. Is it why people are raising their stakes? I leave it to you, Miriam, across the bridge, where there is no sorrow.
For sure, we don't have any sorrows here at the headquarters. And we go to the Sunday Standard, Sunday Nation, and we see also their politics taking center stage on the front pages. Ruto allies take fight to Uhuru family. And they're saying KICC Chief Executive Nana Gishaga is the president's niece and is accused of unprocedurally getting a 361 million Kenya shillings tender to supply Jubilee t-shirts and curbs. How long ago were the elections, and why are these things just coming out right now? Why is it a problem now? Why did they not challenge that when these tenders were being issued at the party? All right, there, and also hits and misses in battle on COVID-19, and we see as the Ministry of Health gave daily tally of infections and coronavirus pitched camp in communities where it thrived undetected until targeted mass testing revealed the extent of the infection. And that is on page 4 and 5 of the Sunday Nation today. And it says that a new study shows that Siaya, Vihiga, Kitui, Kwale and Homa Bay are the most vulnerable counties to the spread of the COVID-19. The report analyzed all the 47 counties and concluded that 5 counties have the most fragile health systems and are inhibited by people whose health indicators make them easy targets for the virus. Many of them above 60 years and live in urban centers very close to an airport and visit game parks and museums. The counties have high HIV prevalence. Now Kilifi, Uasin Gishu, Kisii and Murang'a also share these characteristics, says the report produced by the think tank Institute of Economic Affairs here in Kenya. The report reinforced that the Ministry of Health has been saying that Nairobi and Mombasa remain the riskiest counties, but also have the strongest health systems in this country. That is in the front pages there of the Sunday Nation newspaper, and also on page 5, Cambridge researchers on a ghost law as ministry withholds allowances, and non-medical scientists say they are discriminated against people being on front line of the fight against against coronavirus pandemic, and a section of Kenyan Medical Research Institute staff may go on a strike over unpaid allowances, and that is on page 5 of the Sunday Nation, and that is something that we don't even want to hear is about to happen right now in the country. So we're just hoping that those issues will be resolved and the Ministry of Health will see that we don't have a strike at Kemri, because that will be bad for the country. We don't need that right now. So, Doctor, we turn to I think we've started looking at our topic of the day: dark forces in Africa plotting. Yes,
I have not looked at the Sunday Nation. Yeah, the Sunday Nation. Did you look at it?
Yes, I just read the headlines there.
Yes, somebody is trying to attack my sister, but I will defend. Don't go for a weak fence. Don't go for the weak fence. Come for the real hard defense. Yes, leave her alone.
She's a soft target.
Yes, don't go for. You know, the people in Kenya need to be told, leave her alone. She had people who will defend her. How will you defend her? What will you do? I will defend her. Munamuingilia, go for the real target. If you want the target, why don't you face the real man? He's waiting for you. Pick a phone. Pick a phone and go for the president. For said president, I want to tell you, why do you go for this younger girl? That she should not have a job because she is a relative of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Hapana. Hapana. No. Tuanze siasa mbaya hiyo. Wewe chukua simu upigie mzee mwenyewe. Yeye bado order kutoa hiyo mambo ya Ruai. Wewe ulisema unataka kujenga nyumba city. Nataka kujenga nyumba city. Miriam, have you been told the truth? Come and close this. Have you been told the truth of what happens here? Have you been told? There's a man who once told people that he's going to build a very tall building in one of the hills of Kampala so that he can oversee and walk on Idi Amin Dada every morning. Because when Idi Amin comes, he will fly to God faster with the house being on Kololo Summit. So Idi Amin had that, and Idi Amin went to build on Kololo Summit. He put a barracks with a tall command center called the command center in Kololo. Miriam, this guy who built on another hill said, no, I needed to go and build on another one so that when God runs me here, I run to the other one. I mean, intelligence heard about it. They also told Amin that, oh, do you know there is a man who is building buildings? You know, I am now literally translating into the Ugandan English, building buildings, kujenga manyumba. So what is his name called? Is he called Mr. Tall Building? So Idi Amin ordered for every tall man in city in Uganda. If you are taller than Idi Amin, I swear you suffer at a roadblock. So some of us who were slightly young and slender, handsome, we tried to look very ugly so that the height comes down. You guess. Your guess is like my guess. What do you think? You can't fight the real man. Why do you go for this woman? Because is she the only one? What about the damn money, which you told us that it had a bank guarantee in front of even the judge who would sentence you? We were told. Miriam, we were told there's a bank guarantee. Don't worry. The money will come back. There's no money lost. There's no money lost. It wasn't even 21 billion, it was 7. Where is it? Wachana na koti, wachana siasa zile ngine. Wacha tuzungumze hii siasa ya damu mbili. Pesa ziko wapi? Where is the money? Someone took it. And I say he told a lie that there is a bank guarantee. Where is it? The Italian man now with this COVID-19 he will change the plastic surgery and say he died with COVID-19. You know now everybody who is dying with COVID-19 is buried very fast. The Italian man could say he was buried in 2 days.
In 24 hours.
Have you seen how Kenya has lost money?
Yes.
Have you seen where is the money for the bank guarantee? That's senior hii sasa mwezi ya comet. Comets ziko sky. They are here, we are seeing them. Hii tunazungumza wazi jameni. You can hate Kenyatta. You can hate anybody. But if we ask also, how did you get your money? If you are poor, how did you get the money? You call people dynasties. But when you stole from dynasties to make money, are you not also what's dynasty? What is that description? Can somebody on this show tell me what is the description of a thief who steals from dynasty and from poor people? What category do we call that person? Niambie! Pap, 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 pap. Yo. Mambo imegeuka. Mambo sasa inageuka. Tunaambiana ukweli. Let the thing burst. If it was supposed to, you know, when you have a wound and the wound does not burst, tunaangalia the pus is inside. Wacha itoboke. If you have stolen from dynasties and from the common man, what is your name? Robin Hood. Or who? Today is World Freedom Day. World Media Freedom Press Day. Tunazungumza ngwa. Wewe Miriam usicheke. Leo mwaga vitu. You are a journalist. Mwaga. Waje itoke. Kiswahili yangu, I don't know whether it's right or not, but wacha tutoboe. Yeah, is that better? Sorry. Don't blame me. Blame my Swahili media. Hold the fire for me for 30 minutes. Why don't you wait? Let's take a break. Let's take a break. There is something I'm going to do. But today is World Press Day, where journalists like me, investigative, are supposed to talk freely. I'm talking freely without hiding some words. Where you said there was 7 billion, not 21. Sasa tuambie ziko wapi? Where is it? I leave Miriam to hold the fort. Don't touch some things. I'm coming.
All right.
Or let's take a break. Yes.
So I'll just continue with a few things here, and yes, and wait for doctor to take care of that urgent matter. Yes.
Miriam, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'll find you.
Okay, so we have our topic of today, dark forces in Africa plotting after COVID-19, and we have countries that we are going to look at. I think we started looking at Kenya, and then we shall go to Mozambique, and also we shall go to Nigeria and Cameroon and Somalia, as well as Tanzania. And I don't know if you have, Zimbabwe and Malawi. So we have about 8 countries to look at this day. And thank Thank you so much, Emmanuel Malwa there, wishing us a happy World Press Freedom Day. Thank you so much. And you're saying it's a day some of us journalists can talk without fear of or anyone. Emmanuel Malual, are you a journalist yourself? Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for that reminder. So as Dr. will come back, we shall conclude the Kenyan part. Now, let's look at what has been happening in Mozambique. And of course, Mozambican defense and security forces have pushed back an attack by Islamist militants against the village of Nakobo and Metuge district in the northern province of Cabo Delgado, reports Carta de Mozambique. That is a newspaper there in Mozambique, and that was reported sometimes back last week. The newspaper says the raiders burnt down a tourist camp used by the Gurimbas National Park, which included 20 huts and 15 cows and goats. Now, this clash follows an attack a week ago at a funeral in Imbada village, also in Meluko. Friends and relatives were preparing to bury the deceased when a gang of men armed with machetes and firearms invaded the cemetery, and the militants caught and beheaded 4 people, while others attending the funeral and fled in panic. So these are the things that have been happening in Mozambique there, and we see militant activities there on an increase, and I think they've taken advantage of the situation with the COVID-19. Because a lot of governments right now, they've turned their attention into fighting the COVID-19. And we talked about this earlier when the COVID-19 was just gaining momentum in Africa, and we looked at the security or insecurity rather it poses in this continent. And we see now the militant activities has really increased in this part of the continent there in Mozambique. So these militants are sometimes back last week were walking across the villages there in that part of Mozambique, and they're recruiting young people by force. So if you refused, you're murdered. So at this point, the people who had been murdered, the villagers had gone there to bury them, and these militants came and started attacking them while attending this funeral. So things have not been very right there. So who is funding these militants' activities in Mozambique, and who is this that has decided now that the government is Mozambique through President Philip Nyusi has put its attention in the fight against COVID-19 in that country, will be the right time to hit and to empower this militant group. So this is something really that we have to look at and we have to talk about coming there from Mozambique. And also we go to Nigeria. And a lot of things have been happening in this country. We've seen President Buhari being very heavily criticized for not speaking directly to Nigerians about the coronavirus pandemic, although he has been active on social media. Now, how are you as a head of state there in Nigeria? You're active on social media, but you cannot address Nigerians on something that is very, very important, not only to Nigerians. This is what any head of state out there is doing. So overnight, in a series of tweets, he said he had recalled disease control experts from overseas and urged people not to succumb to panic because of the virus. And he said the government was working to ensure the supplies of food and other essentials would be maintained. Also, President Buhari was recently booed by some residents of Maiduguri, the main city in the northern state of Borno, a day after 30 people were killed, many of them motorists burned to death in an attack nearby by Islamist militants, that is the Boko Haram. And most of the victims were travelers who had been sleeping in their vehicles overnight on Tuesday during a stop in Auno, a town on a major highway in Borno. And the president came to pay his condolences by a video shared online, shows young people shouting Bamaso, that means, which translated in Hausa for we don't want, at the presidential convoy. So look at what is happening also there in Nigeria. The Islamist militants, they have also taken advantage of the lapse in security there in Nigeria. And Nigeria has been having its own security problems. Even before this, COVID-19 came, I think we had been looking at Nigerian, security, and that was really a mess. But now we see, because of they're taking advantage of the loophole, and now these people, I think, due to the curfew that has been put forth, so these were travelers, so they decided, well, it is past the curfew, so let me just sleep in my car. So these people were murdered on their way to wherever they were going there by Boko Haram. And President Muhammadu Buhari, instead of just coming out and addressing this matter, he took to social media. He's been very active on social media, but he's not addressing the things that Nigerians would want him to address. So you wonder what is really happening there in Nigeria. And he's been very criticized. Remember, even after Nigeria recording several cases, President Buhari took a lot of time before he could come out and address this matter and just assure Nigerians. He was very reluctant, and of course his attitude of being very aloof has been really coming into play here in how he has been handling the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria. So I'm just going through some of the countries and really what is happening there, and in line with our topic today, dark forces in Africa plotting after COVID-19. We see here the Islamist groups there in Nigeria. They are taking advantage of the situation because they know right now Nigerian government really cannot do much. If even in normal times they're able to just reign in parts of Nigeria without any anybody trying to stop them. So right now, with all these problems that Nigeria has in terms of dealing with COVID-19, and just yesterday on Friday I was reading some news there, even a huge number of health workers there have not tested positive for COVID-19. So that also is very worrying, and that goes to show, a few weeks ago, Nigerian health workers, they wanted to go on a strike because they had not been paid for 2 months. They didn't have the protective gears they needed, and now we see they have been exposed, and there we are today. So these are just some of the things that we shall be looking at. I see that Doctor is back. I don't know if you're able to join us back. But Sidono Givandis, you're saying there Daesh is doing the same in the north of Mozambique. Yes, and they call themselves Al-Shabaab, those ones in Mozambique as well. I don't know if they have any links with the Al-Shabaab here in East Africa, but the ones in Mozambique also calls themselves Al-Shabaab, and you're saying there with the local term there, they call Daesh. Thank you so much, Sidonio Givandis. Doctor, I see you're back. Welcome.
First of all, thank you very much, Miriam. I want to take this opportunity to bring back to life the truth, and thank you for holding. The people in Mozambique, there is a problem, a very big one. That problem is compounded by the former Renamo rebels who have staged a war against Frelimo, who fought for independence of Mozambique. But you remember when the Portuguese came to East African coast, went as far as Mogadishu, the Red Sea, and the Vasco da Gama and other people, they carried a group of Somali people. Just as you find a group of Mozambicans who are in Kenya, there is a tribe of Makonde. The Makonde people of Mozambique are in Kenya. So in South Africa, in Maputo, we also find a group of Somalis, or who have links with Somalia. That's why you see most of the are you hearing me properly?
Yes.
There's something which is not right here today. Most of the things, is my microphone all right? Yes, is it okay? Because it's giving me some, Stephen has to look at it. I don't know why it goes off and on. Now it is on. I don't know.
You're on, we can hear you.
So there is something which is not right in Mozambique. First of all, in 2016, and I told the people in East Africa, Miriam, you were on my show. You remember what I said?
In 20 what?
I said there is a proxy war in East and the Central and the Great Lakes region. Didn't I say that? I said it. You can look for the clips. The production team can bring that clip back. I said there is a proxy war, very serious proxy war. Namna hivi, iko hapa East Africa, where Uganda and Rwanda wanted to hammer each other. In fact, what has saved us, Miriam, can I sincerely tell Africans, what has saved us in East Africa
it's Corona.
Is COVID-19. COVID-19 has saved a lot of things, as much as it is killing people elsewhere. It has saved quite a lot of things in this East African region. Countries like Rwanda and Uganda, we are going to hammer each other. Don't be told a lie by Museveni that they are denormalized the election, their relationship. No, today is World Freedom Day, World Press Freedom, where investigative journalists like us who have been looking for stories quietly speak out. There was a proxy war and there is a proxy war. That's why you find, and I want you to see the language. If Stephen can bring that, there is something that I sent him today on President Pombe Magufuli, or Magufuli. Tell Stephen to bring that tape, play that clip. You will see the body language of President Magufuli. Tanzania has never had a problem of that nature. The leaders of Tanzania were zungumza namna hivyo. Nyerere never spoke that way. All of them, but I see President Magufuli having a fight with invisible enemies. He said, watu sasa wanasema, I am not working. I'm not working, I'm seated in mefichanya nyumbani. Stephen, play that tape. You'll see. Now, that proxy war touches Mozambique. And I don't want to say much here because people have used my name to eat a lot of money. So I'll keep quiet. But there is one, yes. Miriam, you should sympathize with me. We have been gongered in our names. So let me keep quiet about this. But the only basis I want to tell you is, one, Somali origin also has origin in the northern part of Sofala, those areas of
Fulani.
Tete. Yes, there are Somalis there. The Portuguese left with some offspring and they created a Somali type of climate north of that area. So what is happening at the moment? The same darker forces that have killed Africa, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Turkey, with their master planner who is based in Europe. You know him. You know that person. That country that always plans evil for Africa. They have now fixed their mind on the minerals that are in the Tete and northern part of the Beira enclave, the Beira Triangle. Remember, River Zambezi carries water from Atlantic Ocean passes through all these mountains, meandering through Africa, crosses over and pours water in Indian Ocean. At the port of Beira. Now that is the area north of Beira. You come up to Ruvuma, Nachingwea, Mtwara, and all those areas of Tanzania. There has never been a railway. There was no railway. But for the first time, some country in Europe said we shall build a railway. Across Mozambique, there is Zimbabwe, a bleeding country with sanctions. Sanctions put on by America. Sanctions imposed by American administration. Even at this hour of COVID-19, my people of Zimbabwe are dying of COVID-19 without getting medicine. They are disciplined people. Very disciplined in the sense that they have nothing to do but to die, watch, yet they have their diamonds, which they could sell to get medicine. But America said, don't ever try to sell one single diamond. Blacklisted every country in the world never to buy Zimbabwe diamonds. Across there, there's Zimbabwe. On the north, there's Tanzania. On the east, there's Indian Ocean. In the mainland, there is Mozambique. So tell me, can I tell you what happens there? You can now know why these rebels are in the Beira Triangle. Whom are they preparing to attack?
And Doctor, the video that you had requested for, I think is ready. They play it and then we continue with the conversation, please.
Thank you very much.
Nawasiliana Madagascar na wameshaandika barua, wanasema kuna dawa zimepatikana kule. Tutatuma ndege kule na dawa zile zitaletwa pia ili Watanzania nao waweze kufaidika nayo. Kwa hiyo sisi serikali tuko tunafanya kazi usiku na mchana. Wengine wanasema niko Chato. Kwani waliambiwa Chato huku sitakiwi kuwepo, huku si ndiko nitazikwa? Nikienda Moshi kesho, napo watasema niko Moshi, nimekimbia wapi? Makao makuu yako Dodoma. Lakini hizi ni siasa za kutumia, kila kitu ni siasa. Hapa ndipo wakati watu tunatakiwa kusimama pamoja katika kupambana hili. Na mimi nampongeza sana Mheshimiwa Mbatia, namtaja openly. Ni mwanasiasa mzuri. Wakati wa vita ni wakati wa vita. Wote tushikamane kwenda mbele. Na mpaka ananiandikiaga na message, uwe na moyo mkuu, tuendelee kuchapa kazi. Ni mwanasiasa wa opposition, lakini angalau ni muelewa. Unajua kabisa kwamba huyu anaangalia maslahi ya Tanzania.
That is President, yes, President Pombe Magufuli there of Tanzania. Doctor, before you comment on that, I already have a problem with the president there and that video. Fine, I understand even President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he's giving these press conferences nowadays, he can't wear a mask because he has to speak to the nation. But you see the officials around him, even his security person must be on a mask. Why is President Magufuli's security detail not wearing a mask? Still, his attitude, I have a problem with it. Politics aside, what he's talking about people politicizing this COVID-19, yes.
Tanzania is my country. Tanzania is a country I would defend up to the end. Because it was Tanzania that opened up our eyes, most of us, to know how to struggle for freedom on this continent of Africa. Most of us who lived in Tanzania under Nyerere, who have lived there for a short stint, learn how to fight for Africa. It is Tanzania that inspired me. As a younger man at the age of 17, 18, I passed through there. It inspired me. The way they do their things, the way they talk, the way they organize themselves. Miriam, believe me or not, Tanzanians are good people. They fear their governance. They respect their governance. They have a social contract. Tanzania is the only country in Africa with a social contract. There's no, let me tell you, the best middle class is found in Tanzania. The best on this continent, Africa, you find it in Tanzania. It is not a thieving class. It is not very poor. Those who are poor by the standard of a nation. But those who have made money, they have made money through kindness, not through stealing. You get my point? The real middle class in Tanzania is real. There might be difficulties with John, and the people will talk to John. He's a very senior person in academic, understands all languages. He will understand. He's coming back. He hasn't sat down and kept quiet. He's sending, in fact, for us in Kenya, instead of insulting President Uhuru Kenyatta and insulting Mutahi Kagwe, they also send one Boeing 778 to Madagascar.
To bring us the
pandemic. Yeah, tuanze kununua hii kitu.
Yes.
Before it gets finished. Let's ask President Uhuru Kenyatta, mzee, tununulie hii kitu, tukunywe kidogo, tuanze. Watu wadogo waanze kukunywa hii kitu. I will be the first one to test it. Yeah, it could be, you know what? I want to be very frank. Let's ask President Uhuru Kenyatta to go to send a plane to Madagascar instead of insulting him every day, instead of the stupid man called David Ndii saying that he is academic, he grew up in Europe, but he used to give flowers. How do you study in Oxford and you don't give flowers to those white beautiful ladies? Very beautiful, tall, slender. How do you fail to give flowers on Valentine's Day? Then you condemn Uhuru for giving flowers. Are you mentally all right? Are you mentally all right? So let's send the president, instead of insulting him, let's tell Mr. President, please, jaribu hii kitu. Mzee, tujaribie hii kitu. Because the planes are not moving. Some of us would have already been there. Hey, ujaribu kitu hii. Inaweza kuwa inaponya watu. Because every president in Africa is flying in the jet.
Just looking for a solution, yes. So there's no harm in trying. And Doctor, even as President Magufuli speaks now, Tanzania is under fire from World Health Organization for lackluster response to COVID-19 pandemic. Authorities in the country have been lax in issuing updates on the number of coronavirus infections, while President John Magufuli has stubbornly refused to introduce stringent measures to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Now, the World Health Organization has chided Tanzania for its ongoing lack of cooperation and transparency in the global fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. After 4 days of silence, officials released its latest update on the number of COVID-19 infections last Wednesday. Almost all African countries release daily reports, including the current number of infections, fatalities, and recoveries. So Tanzania here has a case to answer, according to the World Health Organization. They're accusing Tanzania of lack of cooperation and transparency when it comes to the fight against the COVID-19, and they're not giving their data as they should. What do you say to that?
You know what I call double standards. Those are the enemies of Africa. Isn't it the same World Health Organization 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when they thanked Tanzania?
They did?
You see, when I talk, they say Matanga makes noise.
They thanked
3
Tanzania.
weeks, you remember? It was, they thanked Tanzania for having put up a very good policy in combating COVID-19. I had it. It was over news, over BBC, over everywhere. This is the same person. Luckily enough, Africans have talked to me, and I want to tell you this, Miriam, confess. Very senior Africans talked to me, and they said, don't go for the body and the hammer and the horror thing of Dr. somebody called Dr. Tedros. I kept off. Do you hear me talk about it anymore? Because I did not want to kill African unity. I'm at the vanguard of African unity. But the same World Health Organization, what did it say? It said Tanzania had done so well in combating COVID-19. Now, the same World Health Organization, with the same guy, saying Tanzania has been condemned.
For lack of cooperation and transparency.
What does this, where does it put us? Where does it put us? It puts us at a very awkward corner. A corner we shall never come out. A corner that is very, very dangerous. The same enemies are plotting to hit back Africa. The same people are telling Africa, you must take vaccine. At the same time, the same people are saying that medicine of Madagascar, they have not even drunk it. They are saying it is very bad. That's why other presidents are saying, Allah, let's try it. It is no harm with trying. After all, United States of America is trying several samples to people. Why can't we try, Mr. DJ?
Rajolinas.
Yes, thank you. You have heard of the song. Thank you, Mr. DJ, for playing for us. Thank you.
But Doctor, as much as I'm also, I think President Magufuli right now perhaps is doing, but do you think he's doing enough to in the fight of COVID-19 in Tanzania? Right, he's standing there. He's not leading from the front. His own security detail there is not wearing a mask and is standing very close to him. They're not even observing social distancing. Have you seen when President Uhuru Kenyatta is addressing the nation nowadays? They have changed. Things are not as usual. But for Pombe Magufuli there, he's quite all right with not social distancing. What is he telling the people of Tanzania?
Let me tell you, Miriam, it is sad. You know why South Africa has got the highest number of people on this planet?
Attitude like
on
that.
On the continent. Yeah. This is a World Freedom Press Day. Don't hide. Zuma told the people that you can have sex with a person who is infected with HIV and go and use soap, Lifebuoy, and then you get cured. Yeah. Why are we Africans keeping quiet? Yeah, we know children are watching this. We haven't said any vulgar language. Having sex is not a vulgar language.
Yeah.
He told Africans in South Africa not to go for medical treatment. Have you seen the number there? Have you seen the number there? that is a matter of washing yourself. You wash what? So there you are. Mbeki, what did he say about AIDS? The only leader in Africa who stood firm against AIDS is one other than General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Give him a credit. He's very dangerous on democracy, but very good at saving lives. Yeah, he's a very, I tell the truth. Today is a free World Press Day. Let me tell Mr. Museveni something right. He's very good security, saving lives. President Museveni is #1. But when you say you want to take his seat, then you become zero. He crushes you.
You become public enemy #1.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's why some of us are here, are awake. Because we have got also the brains to run a country. Yes, and the age. This is the age to run the country, 65. It's a very good age of wisdom. So you better run away. But on saving the country, President Museveni has done it. On this COVID, kudos. On AIDS, kudos. I give a credit where it is. Let the opposition kill me. Because you cannot oppose until heaven. There's a time when, there's a time when you agree. Even Jesus agreed and asked one thing. Daddy, is this thing not heavy? This thing is too heavy. Take it away from me. Yeah.
Yes.
Museveni on the continent,
yes, he's done very
has
well.
played a good format of a general at war.
He's always at war, but on this one, on the COVID-19, he's done very well.
No,
Very well.
no, honestly.
He's always at war with Bobby
We
Wine
need
and
to
the
talk.
rest. Yes.
We need to talk like that.
Yes.
Frankly, let's not have TVs where people only want to tell us mechanized news. Mechanized. Oh, mechanized news. 200 people died in it. No. Let's have a chat. Museveni has done very well on AIDS. Museveni was very frank on AIDS. And every Ugandan came up to say, yes, let's fight it, let's prevent it, let's educate people. The prevalence rate went down. Kudos, President Museveni. While Zuma and Mbeki were telling people, relax. Relax. You know what I mean. Enjoy. Enjoy.
All right.
You see the enjoyment figure? Because this thing comes for people mainly who are on those things. It looks like it smells in Anusa. It smells if you have extra disease. You have not been telling your wife that our document for the will is in the box here. It comes. It's a monster. It's invisible. Let's talk the truth. So when you hear President Uhuru Kenyatta telling you and Mutahi Kagwe, they are telling you, please wash your hands. Jermaine, wash your hands. Don't be like a Zuma. Zuma is the most stupid man on this planet. He was bought by the French. He killed South Africa. That's why he's in that trouble. You see the trouble there? He's in court. And one of these court cases will take him down to prison. I'm telling you, watch my lips. One of the court cases, one of the judges in South Africa, one of these days, ataamuka subuhi namna hivi, he will send Zuma to jail. Why? I have never forgiven Zuma for having killed Muammar Gaddafi. When Muammar Gaddafi gave Zuma and the ANC arms to fight apartheid, they killed him through voting for Resolution 1970. If South Africa had absconded, Muammar Gaddafi and Libya would be here today. Let Africans look at me and know why I'm annoyed with Zuma. Those who don't know, Resolution 1970 of the United Nations Security Council gave permission for France to start dropping bombs on people. It needed only one vote to abscond for it to collapse. China, Russia, Germany, and others had absconded. Brazil, they absconded. The only Mafikizolo called Mafikizolo went and voted to kill Gaddafi. Have you ever seen him? Have you ever seen him giving a lecture where? Can he be called to give a lecture in London School of Economics? Can he? But Matanga, I give lecture. I'm called once. COVID-19 cancelled our lecture, you remember? They have postponed it. I'm going to speak there. Zuma cannot speak there. Zuma cannot speak there. He can only speak to idiots, but not to intellectuals like me in an audience. I'll put up my hand and say, Mr. Zuma, President Zuma, you destroyed Gaddafi and Libya. You voted with United States of America and France because the French had given you money. You voted and destroyed Libya. Libya is gone. Gaddafi is gone. It will never be back again. So African leaders, the old enemies are back. I think we're still on the topic, Miriam. Is that a good topic? The old enemies are regrouping. My fellow Africans, be careful. I am not like a PLO Lumumba who caught and I find a coating your chocolate. I don't chocolate. I hammer it to the point. If you hate me, hate me. Yes. I cannot chocolate on the question of Zuma.
You cannot sugarcoat.
I will be told not to go to South Africa. So what? You be? I will go to Zimbabwe. Yes, I will go to Zimbabwe. As long as Mnangagwa is there, I will go there.
Speaking of Zimbabwe, Doctor.
Yes, Mnangagwa will not stop me from going to Zimbabwe. Nowhere. No, he's my friend. So why do I go to South Africa? And then by accident you are eating your food in a restaurant. Then you meet Zuma, who destroyed who? Libya. What do I tell him? I feel like pouring food on him. I'm like Nkomo. My heart is like Nkomo. Joshua Nkomo. I believe in a different Africa. Not an Africa that makes concessions. A man in African Union is destroying us every day, collecting money for campaign in Chad against his president. You look at that. Mohammed Faki is collecting money. The French are giving him money. He's going to leave African Union and move quickly to say he's standing as a president of Chad, where he will fail miserably. After destroying and using African Union as a cow to milk money, no African has talked. The only African who talked is Matanga and the Rawlings and the Chisano. We are the three people, and Mbeki, 3, 4, who have voiced. Some Africans are hiding until this AU collapses. Then they will come to rescue. Okay? Mm-hmm. The old enemies are regrouping. After COVID-19, my fellow Africans, that's the topic of today. Be careful. Regime change will be arranged. Mm-hmm. Again, I am an overseer, political overseer, not prophetic. I have studied international politics. Regime change governments that are on the disaster zone. Governments that are on the disaster zone, like Malawi. Malawi is already gone. Zimbabwe is there. But because some of us are battle-hardened, mm-hmm. You cannot manage us on Zimbabwe.
Let's talk about Zimbabwe now, Doctor. We have it as one of the countries that we want to look at today. Now that we're already here, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced the government of Zimbabwe to its knees as it counts economic losses. And as such, when President Emmerson Mnangagwa announced a further 2 weeks lockdown on an East Level 2, he revealed the country was struggling to cope because it was excluded from international bailout packages due to sanctions. His finance minister, Mutuli and Kobe, wrote to international finance institutions informing the world that Zimbabwe will struggle in a post-COVID-19 world as it is already running on an empty tank. So in a nutshell, Zimbabwe is saying, can you forgive us all these deaths that we're having? We cannot manage even after COVID-19. We're seeing a very glim picture there. Yeah. Zimbabwe is asking for help.
Can I tell you one thing? Mm-hmm. Which I'm going to do next week. Zimbabwe, finance minister, you don't need to beg. Leave them. Start trading with fellow Africans. You have diamonds which are not allowed to be sold. Trade with us. Trade with Kenya. Trade with Kenya and get your money and plow back this money to the people of Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. We must beat the sanctions. My strategy on Zimbabwe is to beat the sanctions. If Americans don't lift them, let's beat them. Don't beg them. Finance Minister, watch your tongue. Otherwise, you lose your job.
So how are they supposed to beat them, to beat the sanctions? What is the strategy?
I will tell the president that quiet.
Okay, okay.
Yes, because if I tell imperialists, they are watching.
Very well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Don't beg. Let's beat the sanctions. I stood firm in United Kingdom in 1998. In Brighton, in Labour conference of 25,000 delegates. I put up my hand, God watching me. I said, Mr. Prime Minister, sir, a delegate from Croydon Central, that's my constituency. And that's the constituency where I was going to win a landslide majority to become the first black direct African, and I repeat, direct black African to be in the House of Commons. This is David Matani. That was my constituency. Croydon Central. To go in Europe and become a delegate of the Labour Party. You must be very lucky.
What happened?
And I put up my hand and I said, Mr. Prime Minister, sir, you have erred on Zimbabwe. I told Tony Blair, after my 3 minutes that I was given, out of 25,000, I got an outstanding ovation. When I sat down, before I walked down to they called me to stand until these people clapped. They said, that is the way to go. I told Tony Blair, don't isolate Zimbabwe. Don't isolate Mugabe. Let's contain Mugabe. Let's engage Mugabe. Let's call Mugabe to London. Fellow delegates, you have a white population in Zimbabwe who are Zimbabweans. Let's engage the people of Zimbabwe to get a solution. Tony Blair never listened to me.
And the UK failed to live to the part of the agreement they had. Yes.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello. Some people think I talk. Hello. Look at this. How Britain erred on Zimbabwe. Have you seen it? This is Tony Blair. That is Tony Blair, Mugabe. This is my book. Look at this ugly. This is the ugly man.
And someone is asking for your name here. His name is Dr. David Matanga. In case I think you're Omar Hali, you must be a new viewer here. But thank you so much for watching us.
This is it. I speak my mind. I wrote, it is in this book. I stood in Brighton, in United Kingdom, to warn them, don't kill Zimbabwe. Look today, you have killed Zimbabwe. You have left it to die. COVID-19 is coming to kill Zimbabwe. The president is begging. Don't beg. That the minister, what? That you minister, if you do that, you might lose a job. Be careful with me. Don't beg. Let's beat these sanctions. Let's also use brain to beat American sanctions.
But even President Mnangagwa there said that, even as those international, bodies there have been giving bailout packages to some countries. We've seen Somalia get a bailout. I think Kenya, South Africa, and other countries in the continent, they've been receiving bailout from World Bank, IMF, and these other bodies out there. So President Mnangagwa himself was saying, "Come on now, can you offer us a reprieve?" And so we see the finance minister also there joining President Mnangagwa, Mr. Nkube, there in saying that Zimbabwe is struggling and now we are running on an empty tank. Can you please help us out?
We can't do that. We can't do that.
They're being real. What is happening in Zimbabwe? They're being real.
There is no real. Zimbabwe will rise and shine again. Let's beat the sanctions. We are not going to write notes to Washington to beg them. If His Excellency A.D. Mnangagwa has written and signed such a document, my dear, I am out. Let's beat these sanctions.
All right.
You know how to beat the sanctions? Let's work with other African-minded people, like President Uhuru Kenyatta, like President Museveni, like President Kagame. Let's work with them. Let's work with people like-minded to beat American sanctions. Zimbabwe has got a lot of minerals that we can sell. We can't rely on these guys. They don't like us. However much you sing up to Jerusalem, however much you beg up to God and the angel Gabriel, they will not give us anything.
In fact,
let's just beat.
I think with the begging, that will even attract more sanctions because now they'll see they've cornered them very well. They're between a rock and a very hard place. So Zimbabwe, because now it does not have a lot of options, they might now continue the sanctions so that Zimbabwe, caves to some of the demands that they have been putting forth there. The European Union, even Britain itself, and the US and the rest of the countries that have put heavy sanctions there on Zimbabwe. So right now, I think they got Zimbabwe by its,
Let me tell you very frankly, Miriam, begging the United States to lift the sanctions is like going to God, Gabriel Angel, and asking them
it will be the opposite.
Can you allow Jesus to be born? It's impossible.
It is.
Impossible. We have to be, I have a way, and I'm going to launch the way. Watch me. I'm going to launch the way to beat the sanctions. And we no longer want to beg. We are fed up. As Africans, we are fed up. Let COVID-19 subside. We shall help Zimbabwe. We are fed up of begging Mr. Trump.
Doctor, Zimbabwe needs help now, even before the COVID-19 ends. They literally need the help right now as we speak.
We are so far. Let me tell you, I want to be proud to tell you that the letter that I wrote on 18th of February, the Zimbabwean government took it very serious. They started those measures. Look at the number of deaths compared to where you have facilities of hospitals. Compare it. Muniambie. Compare. Some people don't listen to me. They think Matanga is talks. Now, see, Zimbabwe has contained because they listen. Emerson Mnangagwa listens to some of us. He sleeps here. Oh, listen. When we tell him he listens, he's a listening father. He contained that situation. They are to 34 for 1 month. Yes, because they listened. They are very intelligent people because they listened. And look at Museveni. He listened. You think Museveni doesn't read my letters? He's on them every time. Look on the Twitter. He has read. They listen. People listen. But some people in this world read your name. When they see a letter signed by Matanga, they dismiss me. Lesotho listened. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lesotho, I've told you, we might go together. God willing. When you see the reward I'm going to receive. All
right. And now Lesotho is the only country in Africa that is corona-free.
Yes.
Comoros has
they
been released with 3 cases.
The man called me and said, that letter you wrote gave us a warning shot. I told them, and I've told the Africans, and I challenge them here. Those who call themselves, they know more. When you see an American parking his suitcase, and you live with him in the same apartment, then he says, I'm going and with my family, we are living here. Also pack your rotten shirt and the shoes and follow, go away. Anybody who has studied international intelligence should have warned the world. When I saw Americans moving out of Wuhan, I wrote that letter. Telling me I was a stupid man. 18 February, where was Mr. Tedros? Nowhere. Matanga was already ahead. Yes. Show me another letter where an African wrote. Where? That what? Where is it? Zimbabwe, 2 months, coming to 2 months. Still 34.
34 cases?
They have, remember, be honest, they have no medicine.
Yeah, they're struggling.
They have no kits.
The health system is already bad.
But they have, do you know what the people of Zimbabwe have? Can I tell you the secret? They have good manners. Zimbabweans have good manners, good behavior. They behave very, very well. They abide by traffic lights, regulations. Us in Kenya, we knock each other at traffic lights. In Uganda, we can even shoot each other at traffic lights. Yes, but no Zimbabwean. No Zimbabweans, whether tonight all the time we break the law on the road. I've driven there at night. I've defended this country since 1998. I've known Emerson since then. I've been a friend of those guys. They are law-abiding citizens. You see them at night when there is no traffic. Guess what they do? They stop. Until the green light goes, then he drives. Here in Kenya, if you stop at night, someone will walk out of the car, come and say, "Mister, why are you wasting time here?" Surely, that's why they have disciplined themselves. COVID-19, we are not saying it is over yet. They have no medicine like here. They have tried to get ventilators from China. Please, God help them. But I just want to beg the Minister of Finance not to beg anymore. Let's beat the sanctions. And the method, I'm gonna by 2 months from now, watch, the method will work.
Yes, and just a comment here from John Clark. Thank you so much for watching us. And you're saying Rome was not built in a day. It takes time on some matters of now. Now never works, my sister Miriam. But here's the thing, Mr. John Clark there, thank you. You know, Zimbabwe already suffered last year from the cyclone Aldai that really messed up, the farms there. So half of the population in Zimbabwe, as we speak, they depend on the help, the food from World Food Program and these other aids. So half of the country is reliant on aid. So that's why some of these things have run out. So even if you're waiting for the COVID-19 to be under control, they still need to eat. They still need some of these very essential services to get to them. So that is why I said, as much as we want these things to be sorted after the COVID-19 pandemic, but as we speak now, there are some urgent needs there for the people of Zimbabwe. So how can perhaps Africa and the people who are of goodwill come in and help Zimbabwe now? With the food, for example. So that is what I meant there, but thank you. All right, as we wait to Doctor, our last country for today, Doctor, is Malawi. And we've seen a Malawi High Court temporarily barring the government from implementing a 21-day lockdown to curb the coronavirus following a petition by a human rights group. Justice Kenyatta Nyirenda, I didn't know we had a Kenyatta in Malawi there, but Justice Kenyatta Nyirenda on 16th of April set aside the lockdown in response by a challenge by the Malawian Human Rights Defenders Coalition, which urged that more consultation was needed to prevent harm to the poorest and most vulnerable society. Most of this protesting called on the government to provide them with cash and food handles if a lockdown went ahead. So the human rights defenders there, they said they were going and they're telling President Peter Mutharika, if you have to put this country in a lockdown, then you have to ensure us that the people who live in the slums there in Malawi, they'll be taken care of. They'll have food, they'll have the basic necessities, and then you can go ahead with the 21 lockdown. Doctor, was this move, wise on the side of the court who granted this ruling, and also the human rights defenders? Did they have a case?
Which case?
For President Mutharika to not put the country in a lockdown until he made sure that the people who are vulnerable were taken care of in terms of food and other supplies.
How will he know when they are vulnerable, when they are not in lockdown? Those are stupid George Soros people. Those are the ones I've been telling you. You see how George Soros has come to Africa. How do you, Miriam, how do you lock people? How do you fail? How do you know who is vulnerable and not vulnerable? Until you lock them down,
yes,
and then you find where there is need, and then give them supply. But if you are going to leave the same people go to struggle for food with others who are healthy, then we shall spread the disease higher than it is now. So the court there is useless. The court is George Soros. And by the way, do you know, Malawi is already taken over. George Soros has one of the countries in Africa that George Soros has won is Malawi. It's not a country anymore. It's just George Soros territory. It is waiting for coronation.
So you're doubting the elections that are set to take place in May. The rerun. They've not said they've not cancelled the election. And
Jesus Christ!
The campaigns going on last weekend. Yes, and over the week also.
Oh God help us! Today is Sunday. Which elections? Which elections can be held in this condition? Which African country can hold elections this condition?
Malawi and Burundi, they're going ahead with the elections in May. This month,
Don't you see the head of the president of Burundi? Does it look a normal head? It looks a head that is a pumpkin.
Peter Mutharika. And last weekend, during a rally by the ruling party, Peter Mutharika's party there, the Electoral Commission of Malawi was the one supplying, with water and soap. So the Electoral Commission of Malawi now is the one that is giving water and soap during the rallies in Malawi. Look at that. All right.
Let me tell you. The situation in Africa, in Nigeria, is worse. You can't hold an election anywhere in Africa. In Amazonia, is worse. Cameroon. I don't know, when I left you talked about those countries.
We have not. We spoke about Nigeria a little, but in Cameroon also. Maybe
let's talk about
Cameroon. Yes, Malawi, and then we get to Cameroon, and then we finish for the interest of time. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, there's time. Just give it an extra.
Just 5 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yes.
10 minutes.
Okay.
And you go. There is a very bad situation developing on the African continent. The truth is that all the enemies are coming back under COVID-19. They are going to bring Africa to its knees. The war in Malawi is already conquered. George Soros is waiting to name it George Soros Blantyre, George Soros Lilongwe. Come to Nigeria. Buhari has given up on Nigeria. He has left his tribesmen to kill the Igbo people of Biafra. They are being killed on a daily basis.
Yes.
They are being murdered on a daily basis. We have pictures showing coming from areas where the army of Nigeria is not fighting. Insurgents of Boko Haram, but fighting the people of Nigeria, of Biafra, killing them, slaughtering them, tying them on the car, on Land Rover, and pulling them to peel off. These are pictures I cannot show. That's why at times I feel a pity for my people of Nigeria.
And speaking of President Buhari,
of Biafra,
yes,
I feel a pity that whenever I talk about Biafra, I cry tears. Buhari has killed his own people. He's destroyed them. They are very clever people. They are very good people when you meet them worldwide. You have never met one of them. They are and they are different from these other Nigerians. But they have been killed. They have been maimed. They are dying on a daily basis. My sister, is very painful.
And
another point.
The president.
Another point. Amazonia. Amazonia is one of the areas where the enemies are coming back. Paul Obi has left his people. They are being killed. A huge number of the people with COVID-19 is from Amazonia because they don't have food, they don't have dresses, they don't have medicine. They are dying. The world is watching.
Mm-hmm. And
someone said we have not talked about Uganda. Yeah, they are criticizing me for having not talked about Uganda.
We did. Where were
I
these
want
people?
to talk about Uganda 1 minute to briefly praise it for having fought, done very well on COVID-19. And 2, the opposition there in Uganda has kept a nice mouth. For the first time, tomorrow, cars are returning on the roads in Kampala. Specified cars working. But he has stopped that. No church, no mosque, no restaurant, no bar, no disco will ever open. He has locked that.
Will be open.
So
later.
if you wanted to hear,
when you say we'll never open, you're saying that they're done. We'll open after the COVID-19 has been contained.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Nanda says you look so nice, you dressed so well. I think you have seen that comment. In case you didn't read it.
It's okay. Let's just continue. Yes. Thank you, Nando. Yeah.
So no, I just want to bring morale back. That it means we appreciate it. We talk about the things that are real. Because originally he said, who are you, Dr. Matanga, Miriam, and the Punchline TV Africa? Why did he ask that question?
No, I think it's a new viewer, and I already told him your name, yes.
No. Dominic Nwandwa is an old viewer.
He's asking, how are you today? How are you, Dr. Matanga?
Have you seen the comment up there? Before Clark, after Clark, who are you, Dr. Matanga? Maybe he meant to say, how are you?
Yes, how are you?
Maybe.
And he corrected that.
He's our old, one of our fans.
Ardent viewers here. Doctor, yes.
You open up the TV or Punchline like this, he's number one.
And we appreciate your support, sir.
From Biafra.
Thank you.
From Biafra, he suffers. He suffers for his people.
Thank you very much. We appreciate our loyal viewership there.
So you can see Uganda is on.
So, yeah. And Doctor, yes.
The general himself is opened it up. And he's going to address the nation tonight. Maybe tonight. Is it tonight? I like his casual way of addressing the nation. At least he puts on this thing. It's like President Uhuru Kenyatta.
That's what I want to see from Magufuli. Until he's able to do that, I don't want to hear anything from President Magufuli.
I know you are very upset with him.
I am.
But
he has to be held accountable.
Tanzania is my home.
I love Tanzanians. I have no problem. I just have a problem with, and I've never had a problem with President Magufuli. Well, a couple of times.
Do you remember the last song?
I just don't like how he's leading on the fight against COVID-19.
You remember the last song of Tanzania? Of the last song of Mbaraka Mshe?
Doctor?
Mbaraka Mshe sang the last song after leaving Carnival, and he ended up dying after Arusha and a Moshi down there in a motor accident.
Yes, and that is very good. Yes.
He sang that song. Let me say it.
Well, thinking about the curfew.
Hakuna kitu kibaya duniani kama shida.
Yes. Okay.
Kila siku shida. Oh, siku ya mwisho. There you are.
Okay.
That it means there is nothing in this world which is bad. Like trouble.
Like what Zimbabwe is having right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Too much trouble.
So,
yes.
We don't want to be in trouble with time. And
no, just before you talked about Amazonia and Cameroon there, you touched it. There's something that came out, and meanwhile Cameroon's main opposition leader said he wants a top court to declare a power vacuum because President Paul Biya hasn't addressed the coronavirus crisis in the country. Maurice Kamuto said on last Wednesday on his Facebook page, and I'll quote him, "In the face of an unprecedented political situation in which our country finds itself, characterized by prolonged and unexplained absence of the head of state, I have decided to act." So he's saying there is a vacuum of leadership, which I agree with Maurice Kamto. And now he's going to court, and he wants the court to say there's a vacuum of power there in Cameroon. What do you say to that?
Doesn't this guy know that this thing COVID is looking for
Paul Biya?
For Mr. Paul Biya. Paul Biya with his age cannot appear in public. He is 89. He's way past the age of expiry.
Stop. The Queen is still there.
They are even young, but they have gone underground. They are operating in a bunker underground. Kabisa chini ya maji. You know, the maji is on top. Then you dip chini. You need a submarine to remove them.
Maybe they're good divers.
Oh, good divers. There are people in Kenya. The deputy president has gone underground.
They're practicing deep sea
diving.
Today's
press day. He's underground.
Alrighty.
Hakuna function anaweza fanya sahi. Ako wapi? Tunamtafuta.
That's why we need the churches.
What?
Group in Kenya is good. Like maybe it's
and
our favorite.
So one and brought. I said today. I said I can't leave the airport. I want this breaking news for Kenyans with easy kitenge. So Maina Kiai, David Indi. Whenever you hear them, another one called Makau Mutua, another one called Harun Dubi, another one called Jonjo Mue. When you see those characters, then there's another one called Kegoro. Whenever you see them on the plane, their role is to go and choose Kenya, Uru, 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 Uru. They don't have anything good to tell the world. Uhuru, 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 Uhuru. So, let's end here.
Now, one of our viewers is wondering what kitenge is. Mr. Omar Hani, kitenge is the African wear. And
it's the African wear.
It's very beautiful. That one of Githongo, I've seen it. It's very lovely. So, there you go.
Another one called Githongo. Oh, thank you for reminding me of Githongo.
And, okay.
When you see the woman is called Gladiwell Otieno, when you see those people now, you see they are very active now. They always thrive in what we call kavuyo, confusion, mavurugano. They know the government is now in opposition. Ruto is opposing the president. They are now busy operating. They want to tell George Soros there is a need money. There's a need of money to now tell the crowds. You will see soon they will be issuing a press statement by Wednesday condemning police. They started by condemning police. Now police is not anywhere, didn't do anything. Now you will see issuing a statement, the country is going to dogs. That's what they are going to do. I've already heard they have a press conference on Wednesday calling upon the president. You saw that reverend from my church that reverend, the provost of All Saints Church, I hit him a letter. He will never forgive his life. It is the highest with 26,000 people who have read it in Kenya. I gave it to him. He will never reply in his life until we meet at the gates of heaven or hell. Because some of the reverends will go to hell, by the way, you don't know. If you have been collecting money from people.
That is for God to decide. Doctor, thank you. We seem to have run
Yeah, no,
yes.
I have not said I'm deciding, but some we shall meet. Yes. You know, there are 3 categories of sitting.
Doctor, our time is really...
In the middle, hell and heaven. So you first sit there. Then if people had known that you are going to hell, then you would go straight. God has to judge you first. I want to thank you, Miriam, for giving me extra minutes. And I believe you need to be going home before the curfew. And I will beg the general manager to drop you before he goes to his home.
Don't worry, we'll sort that out. Don't worry, we'll get home safe. Don't worry. Thank you so much, our viewers. We've had a great show. Thank you for your participation, yes, and thank you for your input. We really appreciate that, Doctor. We've had a good show today.
This man says the Kitenge is a bed sheet. Hey. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I am gone. I'm done. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. It was a very interesting show, though.
Yes.
And you must forgive Magufuli.
No, I just want him to be responsible. I have no problem with President Magufuli. Just be a little bit responsible, sir, and just lead from the front, and then Tanzanians can follow. Thank you so much. We meet here tomorrow, 9 a.m. East African time for Daybreak Express, and then later on for Good Morning Africa and Diaspora Dispatches. So hopefully, God willing, we shall see you tomorrow. From me, Miriam Ogutu, it's bye-bye for now.
For me, Dr. Matanga, all the way from the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa Television, all the way, miles and miles away. Keep smiling. The station is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa, Thank you.